Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials. If you're a regular viewer to the channel, you'll have seen me harvesting some carrots from my self-sufficiency garden just the other day. And I do like carrots as part of my normal meals during the week. But carrots don't have to be boring, all meat and veg. They can do lots of other things. So here's something different for you to do with those extra carrots you might have. Okay, so here's our raw ingredients. We've got some vegetable oil. We'll be using 3/4 of a cup of that. We've got some sultanas. There's about half a cup of sultanas. I've just soaked them for 5 minutes in some water just to bulk them up a little bit. 4 eggs, pinch of salt. We've got 300 grams of carrots. I'll be chopping those up in a second. We've got 250 grams of flour, 200 grams of sugar. And that's it. That's our ingredients. Pretty straightforward, really. Okay, so we've got our ingredients. All I'm going to do is quickly slice up these carrots into the food blender. For the sake of the video, I should probably have done this bit before. Well, now you're going to spend 5 minutes watching me cut carrots into chunks. But hey ho, live video, what can you do? At least you know I am making it up as I go along. And it's not staged. These are real results and real errors as and when they inevitably happen. But it's all part of the learning curve, so all is good. You can use a grater for this. It will take you forever though. So if you have one of these machines, then it'll just save you a bit of time. So I'm going to just pulse these until they reduce. So rather than you watching me doing this, I'll come back to you in a second. So we've whizzed our carrots through the food processor, got them broken down into nice little grated pieces. There's about 300 grams of carrot there. If you can see that or not, they're nicely grated down. So I am going to use the food processor again in a second because I don't have a whisk to blend all of this together. So let me just quickly rinse that out and I'll come back to you in a second. Okay, we're moving along. So we've got our 250 grams, which is around about 2 cups of flour. Just going to add a little pinch of salt into that. It is literally a pinch, it's like half a teaspoon. Just give that a bit of a stir around. Blend it in. Not science this, it's not a great drama. Got our 4 eggs. Just pop those into a bowl. Whenever you do this, you're always waiting, aren't you, for the tiny piece of shell to break off and go into the dish, and then you spend forever trying to fish it out again. Unfortunately, that's not happened in this case. So literally all we're going to do is just break those up a little bit. You're not actually beating them as such. because we're going to pop those into our blender. So they're going straight into there. And wouldn't you know it, I've managed to get some onto the counter. As I said, the joys of doing this live. And then we've got our sugar. We've got 200 grams of sugar there. Again, this is just going to go straight in to the blender. And all we're going to do is start to blend that together. I'll just pulse it initially, just to get it going. Let me just do this just for a couple of minutes. We're just wanting to blend the egg and the sugar together. You don't want to be too fierce with this because we don't want it to curdle. I think that's looking okay. Next ingredient, we've got 3/4 of a cup of our vegetable oil. We're just going to blend that together as well. So that's going in. Same principle. We're just going to pulse that. And gradually blend that together. As it all starts to blend, we can be a bit more exotic with the blender and let it run for a little while longer. I think we're about there. Now the tricky bit, getting this flour in there. We've got 250 grams of flour, so I've got to manage to try and get that in now without it going everywhere. If you were whisking this in a bowl, it would be much easier because clearly you've got more space to work with, but I'm using this blender, so I'm having to try and get it in the gaps between the edge of the blending bowl and the actual machinery of the blender. But we're about there. So now we're going to blend all of this together slowly to start. You'll see it start to thicken up now. Looks like we're about there. Now the final part, and again this is going to be a little bit tricky. We've got our carrots to go in. So same thing again, we're going to gently feed these into the blender around the outside. this is where we find out whether or not the blender is big enough to cope with this volume of ingredients. It should drop down once these carrots start to blend in with the flour and the egg mixture. Let's get the last few bits out of the bowl. And I think we're about there. Only the odd little stray piece of carrot. And again, blend this together, just pulse it to start with until it starts working its way in. Okay, we're about there. So all I need to do now is get this into the final bowl. You can have a dish, a loaf tin, whatever you want. I'm going to use one of those silicone loaf tins that you've seen me use before. So I'll just grab that out of the cupboard and then I can get this scooped out into that, and we'll get the oven on to warm up. Okay, I decided against the silicone. I might still use it, it depends how much mixture there is. If it fills this, then clearly I'll top up with the silicone one, but I've used this metal one. I've just given it a quick spray with this spray oil, and I've put a bit of parchment paper in the bottom as a bit of extra security to try and stop it sticking. So we'll dismantle the food processor, get rid of this. It's the only trouble with baking, especially if you're using a processor, because you end up with lots of washing up. We're going to fill this about 3/4 full. We're not going to go all the way to the top. So let's have a little look and see how much mixture we have. I don't know if you can see that carrot or not, but it looks very nice. Yeah, I think this tin will be fine actually. If I remember, I'll put the measurements for it in the description box. It will settle itself, but I'm trying to even it out across the tin as I go. And that's it, we're about there. So, last little thing. Might seem a bit odd leaving it till last, is the sultanas. But we don't want those going all the way to the bottom of the pan. So all I'm going to do is just gradually sprinkle them across, try and even them out as I go. And I'll just have to help them a little bit to sink into the cake mixture. The oven is on, it's 170 degrees, and it takes about 90 minutes to cook this. I think that's probably enough sultanas actually. I've got 1 or 2 extra stray ones there. And then I'll just take a little knife and just agitate the top surface to help it just sink below the surface. I'm not trying to get them into the bottom, I'm just easing them into the middle of the mixture. I guess the proof of the pudding will be when it comes out, whether they are still in the middle, or whether they've managed to work their way to the bottom, but hopefully they'll not. They'll be spread out fairly evenly. In fact, I'll just pop these extra couple of sultanas. I'm not sure if you can see this on the video or not, but they are working their way into the mixture. I like sultanas, so I'm not bothered if there's too many. Okay, there we go. All that remains now, apart from the copious amounts of washing up I've got to do, is to pop them into the oven, 170 degrees for 90 minutes. I'll let you have a little peek at it halfway through, and then hopefully we'll have a nice result at the end. Well, the cake's been in for about an hour, so time for a quick peek. And that looks fine. You will have to keep your eye on these because I've got a fan assisted oven, so generally things cook a little bit more quickly in a fan assisted. So if you have one, then you might need to reduce the time slightly, but we'll keep an eye on it and I'll come back to you in another, I don't know, 10-15 minutes or so. We'll check up again. Well, the cake's been in for an hour and 15 minutes, so let's take another little peek. Bit of steam there. Well, the cake's been in for an hour and 15 minutes. I'll take another little quick peek. Looking very nice. I think I'll give it another 5 minutes or so, and I think we'll be about there. So I'll come back to you then. Okay, so we're back. The cake's been in now for a little bit over 80 minutes, 82 minutes thereabouts, and I reckon it's done. So I'm just going to pull this out and take a little look. Oh, there we go. Now, as always, the tricky bit, getting it onto the cooling rack, which actually it's only just going to fit. It's probably going to overhang slightly. So let's take a little look and see if we can get this out. I think we're going to need a little knife running around the edge. Even though it's been greased, it's still sticking to the sides slightly. Hopefully the bottom should be fine with that parchment paper. If I was doing this again with the same ingredients, I would use that smaller tin. This one is slightly shallower than the silicone one, but it's an awful lot longer. So it's going to be, I don't know what that is, 1.5 inches, coming on for 2 inches thick. And I think it would work better as a taller cake, but as with everything, we live and learn. So let's try and get this out. Oh, there we go. She's out. So I'll just peel off that paper, and then that can go on there to just cool down. And we'll get rid of this into the sink because it's a tad hot. Okay, so there we are. That's our carrot and sultana cake. We'll let that cool down completely before we try to cut into that. So once it's had a chance to cool down properly, I'll pop back, we can have a little slice and see how it looks inside. Okay, so there's our carrot and sultana cake. Let's have a little cut inside and see how it is. It's still a little bit warm actually, but it's cutting okay. So there we go. You can see the carrot and the sultana. Nice little cup of tea, and that'll be beautiful. Bon appetit. Just a little look to see how moist this is. It's not dry at all. It's really quite nice and moist. The actual exterior is that little bit of a crunch to it. That's really nice, and it's like the almost as if the sugar has kind of expanded out to the outside of the cake. It's really quite nice. Very, very moist. Taste the carrot. You know I can't stop eating this now, don't you? Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. It's well worth a try. But use the other cake tin. I'll pop a picture up in a second, and you can see the dimensions. Because I think if it was just that little bit taller, it would look better, and I don't think it would taste better, but it would be more compact. You get a bigger slice than you do with this, if that makes sense. A deeper slice. Anyway, very, very nice. Give it a try. Recommend it. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me cooking the carrot cake, and I do hope that you will give it a try. If you liked the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Have you got any interesting cake recipes that use different ingredients like carrots? Let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.